Hello, welcome to my page, Comedy Lives in Me, and Merry Christmas Eve. I am sharing my meditations with you all, and I start out talking about prosperity. And we all want to live a happily prosperous life, but when you really think about prosperous, this meditation made me realize that you are not prosperous unless you live a certain way. And this man by the name of Jerry Gillis quoted, "Prosperity is living easily and happily in the real world, whether you have money or not." And so the meditation go on to say, if you have many things, you are not free to come and go in life. You are not prosperous. And that made me think about celebrities. You know how they have to have bodyguards and they have to be cautious and have to be on the lookout every time they go out the door. That's living a lifestyle such as this is not prosperous. This is if you just really think about it. If you have things to do and protect that you think others can take away from you, you are not prosperous. If you are not comfortable with yourself, no matter where you are not prosperous. If you believe others can take your ideas, your mate, your things, you are not comfortable. Prosperity is a state of mind. When you worry or fear crowd your mind, when worry or fear crowd your mind, you cannot be prosperous. If you know you will eat even when you don't have a dime, you are prosperous. When you can love and give all that you have, you are prosperous. When you do what you love without pay or reward, you are prosperous. When you do what you can because you can, not for money only, you are prosperous. When you love all people for who they are, not for what they can give you, you are a wealthy being. Prosperity is a state of mind. And it ends with this: the richer I think, the richer I am. So prosperity is a state of mind. It's not all about what you have, material things. And I think I spoke on prosperity last week. It just expounded on how prosperity, you can't live your life always wanting this or wanting that or trying to get more and more. You have to get comfortable with yourself. You have to get comfortable with just having peace of mind, just being comfortable and content where you are. When you get to the point that you are content with who you are, where you are, and understand that God is the conductor and He's orchestrating your life, then you are prosperous. Okay, my next meditation is talking about, it reads, I will know peace when I realize I am never alone. How many of us circle have become smaller since this pandemic? And how many of us are just can't wait for it to be over so we can go back to the parties, gather with our friends, and just have a blast? Well, I was thinking about this, and I said, well, my circle have never been a big circle. I've always had a small circle. So when this pandemic struck, or we had everybody's supposed to be staying home to stay safe, it didn't bother me that much because I'm a homebody anyway. So my circle has always been small. It's gotten smaller I realized because of this meditation, I've grown closer to God. And the closer you get to God, your circle will get smaller. So it goes on to read, when you really move into the presence of God, you are going to feel lonely. In fact, you may find yourself alone. When God takes you in and prepares you to change, He will strip away everything and everyone around you in order to build a fortress within you. If you continue to focus on the outside world, you will think you are alone. You will feel abandoned. You will conclude that there is no one standing with you or for you. How many of us have felt like that? I know I felt like that a whole lot of times. But until you get in the presence of God, then you will realize that you are never alone. When you are moving into the presence of God, you will be surrounded by angels. You will be protected by wise men, prophets, and sages. You will be held up, propped up, pulled up, and opened up. When you are in the presence of God, you will be cleaned up so that nothing that happens outside of you will have the power to hurt or harm you. In the presence of God, everything you need will come to you and through you. And until today, you may have thought you were all alone. But just for today, submit yourself to the presence of God. Ask to be fortified with God's love and grace, and you will realize that you are never alone. Today, be devoted to experiencing the presence of God in your life. And my last one I'm going to share with you all is about being an ordinary person, just a plain old simple person. And it gives us illustrations of what it starts off with this verse. Behold, there was a man in Jerusalem whose name was Simeon. And this man was just and devout, waiting for the consolation of Israel, and the Holy Spirit was upon him. Luke 2:25. And this lesson is teaching us that among the wondrous lessons of the Christmas story is this one. And you don't have to be famous, great, wealthy, talented, experienced, or extroverted to serve the Lord or be used by God. It goes on to say that the stars of the story, the Christmas story of the young couple from Nazareth, an unknown resident of Bethlehem, who loaned them a cage. That was Joseph and Mary. This Nazareth was an unknown man, and nobody knows who he is today. But he was the one that was a simple, unknown person that loaned Joseph and Mary a cage. Handful of smell. It was full of smelly shepherds. And but this is where Mary and Joseph had Jesus was born. And then there was a devout fellow named Simeon and an aged widow named Anna. These are people that they were giving examples of, just plain old simple people that was used by God. And they were ordinary enough to be used by God. When we are reminded of this, it helps us overcome our fears of being unqualified to serve the Lord. It isn't highly trained specialists the Lord needs most, but devout people who, like Simeon, are faithful to the house of the Lord, who wait for God to work. Remember what Paul said, not many great people are chosen. Not many wise or noble or famous. It is simple, humble, ordinary people that God uses most often so that the glory will be His alone. Let's all be sons of Simeon, just and devout, touched by the Holy Spirit and available at a moment's notice. And sometimes we think that we are not qualified, we're not good enough, we're not adequate enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not tall enough. But remember that God made you and created you in your mother's womb to be exactly who you are today, and to walk like you, talk like you, and He can use you no matter what your appearances are, or what class you may fall into. You are enough, and remember that. Thank you for coming to my page, and have a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. And I'm just so glad you decided to come to my page, and be blessed. And you can find me on Amazon.com. I write books to inspire, motivate, and encourage. Have a very blessed holiday.